How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I bought another Toyota MR2 Turbo. And this one is 100% mint.
That was a lie.
So this is my 1992 Toyota MR2 Turbo. Now, I know what you're thinking. He said he wouldn't start another project. He said he was done buying new cars. He said he was done. He said he was done. Well, this, my friends, is not another project. It's not something I'm starting. This is a parts car for my current 1991 MR2 Turbo. Well, that was not even a stock MR2 Turbo, it was a swap. This, on the other hand, is a stock from the factory MR2 Turbo with all the turbo goodies. Well, most of the turbo goodies, because as you can tell, this car has seen better days. Now, I paid around $1,500 for this car, and while that is $500 more than I spent on my other MR2, this one has every single part that I'm gonna need to make that car whole again. So how did I find this gem of a parts car without spending hours and hours and hours on the internet with 25 tabs open and scouring every rusty corner of the web? Well, a few of you will know that I use a site called Autotempest.com. Whether you're looking for a parts car or one that actually, runs, Autotempest will search all the top car classified sites on the internet at once. Sites like Cars.com, AutoTrader, and Car Gurus, plus all of Craigslist. And if you're not looking for a full car, their partner site, SearchTempest.com, can help you search all of Craigslist, eBay, and more for parts or actually anything else. Whether you're buying a regular car or just a parts car, you can hit up Search Tempest or Autotempest in the links below. I'd like to thank Autotempest for sponsoring this video, even though I don't think the sponsorship covers tetanus shots. I've never actually reviewed Since I've never actually reviewed a parts car before, I'm gonna revert to an old Craigslist selling tactic by giving you the good, the bad, and the holy sh**. One good thing I really like about this car is the fact that it is a stock MR2 Turbo. Now, a lot of MR2s have turbo swaps. They might even have the turbo engine lid and some interior components, but they're not real turbos. The turbos have a lot of extra little goodies that the NA versions, which my black one was originally, just don't have. Like this turbo engine lid. Now, I know that I did say that swaps sometimes swap this part over, but I love that I didn't have to go searching for it. This turbo engine lid, and also this little piece right here is a direct bolt-on to my car, and that'll get rid of that really stupid looking snorkel and that haggard looking engine lid that had the really bad fans that were spinning in the wrong direction. It also has a stock 3SGTE power plant with a 5-speed manual transmission, and although my car does have one of these, this car is completely stock. It has all the emissions equipment. It has everything that a factory car would come with. So in case I'm missing vacuum hoses, in case I'm missing modules or something like that, that would make that car run better, I can just take it off of this car. Also, my car, I believe, had leaky injectors, so I could farm one of these out and put it on my car, and my car will be in tip-top condition. I'd also be able to see, since this is a stock engine through and through, what was changed on my car, if it had a different turbo, if something was missing, if something was added. That is something that I can now do since I have this entire powertrain in front of me, so that is really good. Another thing I really like is that this front end, although it is damaged and partially unusable because it did hit on the front, it is all complete and it is all there. Now, these fog lights are actually pretty important because although the fog lights are easy to come by on eBay and Amazon, the brackets behind them are actually very expensive and very hard to find. Another thing to note is that if you pop the trunk, or the frunk, I don't know what you call it here, you see that there's a spare tire and also this plastic shroud. Now, I've been trying to find a spare tire and a plastic shroud for quite a long time, and it's really hard to come by. You'd actually be very surprised to see that a lot of these components just aren't available anymore. And that's something that I wanted a parts car for because I knew that this would be all OEM. Now, just like an onion or an ogre, if you peel back the layers, you'll realize that this has some goodies indeed. If you take this panel off, this plastic panel, you'll see that instead of the power steering pump, the electric power steering pump that my MR2 has, this has a manual rack, a fully manual rack. And this gives me an option. I can take this manual rack and put it on my car and maybe get some more direct steering feel if I can't get that power steering pump to work because mine is broken. I like that I now have an option to have a stock manual rack setup, and that will save weight and it might make the car handle better. But as it stands now, I'm not 100% convinced. What I would like to do, however, is take this ABS system, because my car does not have ABS, and retrofit it. I'm not sure how good the system was. Obviously, it wasn't that great. I like the fact that I could now take all the OEM components, including the harness and the ABS computer, and basically put it in my car, and it should retain all the OEM function. The next great thing about this car is the interior. This is a very complete and very good condition interior. Usually the plastics here would be cracked, people would put gauges and whatnot, but this is a very stock, very unmolested interior. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you may notice that this steering wheel is not an airbag steering wheel. My car is a 91 and it does have an airbag steering wheel, but this is a 92. Why doesn't this have an airbag? Well, the reason is this car is Canadian and it didn't actually have to abide by the US standards at the time. Now, this is just a regular horn steering wheel, and if I want, I can put this in my car. I'm not sure I'm gonna do that just because it looks kind of ugly and looks very, very economy car class. Another point of this car's Canadian heritage is the fact that it has the MR2 turbo gauges with a slight twist. The MR2 turbo gauges differ from the NA gauges in a few ways. One, they have a higher rev limit and they have a higher top speed on the indicated gauge. This one is different still because instead of miles per hour, it has kilometers per hour on the outer ring, and on the inner ring they have miles. So I might be able to retrofit this into my car, and also it has a boost gauge in the middle. And the boost gauge is pretty cool, but I think we can do something with that. Maybe get something a little more modern, maybe get something with numbers on it, but that is a project for another day. In addition, it does have the leather seats and leather upholstery for everything, and it also has this cool little turbo-only cubby, and my NA doesn't have this. I think it might have been an option for the NAs, but I don't think that they were optioned out too much. I've only seen these on the turbos, and this is all a bolt-in for my car. Now, another thing I just noticed is the fact that this car doesn't have air conditioning. While I can retrofit it and make it look like my car never had air conditioning from the beginning, this is Florida, and Florida in the summer, I mean, it's winter now, it's December, and it's 80 degrees outside. In the summer, it's over 100, and in a black interior, I don't think that no AC is gonna cut it. So I think I'm gonna keep the AC in my car and maybe keep that AC delete in this car, but it's cool that I can put it in, and I will be selling off all the components that I'm not using. I will be eventually junking this car, maybe with a drivetrain, maybe not, but if you guys have any interest in buying the car, let me know. I'll get rid of it for literally pennies on the dollar of what I paid for it, because I'm only gonna use a few pieces and then the rest can just go to a good home. But before I forget, one thing I wanted to mention was these. These are power windows. These power windows are, they were an option for my MR2, but my MR2 came with the roll-up windows, which is weird because it did have power steering and AC, so basically everything was an option on these cars. But I like that this has power windows, both of them work, and I think I'm gonna retrofit this into my car, because power windows has an effect of elevating the class of one's car pretty quickly, especially so you don't have to suffer the indignity of reaching over and like, hold on. But everything in this interior looks like it's in really good shape, and it also looks like it's gonna be really easy to retrofit into my car. But let me show you my favorite part about this car, and that is these wheels. These are 17 by 8 in the front, 17 by 9 in the rear, 5Z-Gen FN01R-C. I think these are among the best looking wheels you can get for an MR2 Turbo. These are basically perfect for the stance and also lightweight pedigree that this car has. These are really seriously lightweight wheels, and they're actually hard to come by and they're expensive. In fact, a used set of these wheels would likely cost the amount of money I spent on this entire car. So despite the crash damage in the back and the front of this car, these wheels are relatively unscathed. I mean, they do have a little bit of curb rash here and there, but nothing to write home about, nothing that I'd be worried about in a low dollar project like this MR2. In addition, the brakes behind the wheels can also be salvaged. Now, I probably won't be using the rotors and the pads, but the calipers, correct me if I'm wrong, commenters, but these calipers are a little bit bigger than the NA calipers. They might not be, but they certainly look the part. So I can do a full budget big brake conversion by swapping over calipers from this to my car, and also using that ABS, so this should be a really good runner by the time I'm done with it. Now let's get to the bad. Even though I did buy the car to use some of the panels in a front-end conversion, I didn't realize that that damage was that bad, and I also didn't realize that the paint was this bad. Now, the paint on the panels that I can use, like this fender and this headlight, it is past the point where you can just buff it to a nice shine. This is oxidized and hazed, and also looks like it's been repaired very, very poorly. So that's gonna have to be sanded back and also repainted. So that's an extra hassle. That's something that I didn't want to deal with, but I'm gonna have to deal with it anyway. Also, although the wheels are good and they can definitely be reused, the tires can't be. I'm gonna have to replace all 4 tires. And while the front ones seem okay as far as tread wear, on this side, they have a lot of camber wear, and it looks like even though the previous owner took some care with the wheels and some choice mods, he didn't really worry about the alignment, and that got out of whack and it started eating into the tires. And let me not get started on what I saw in the back. What the fuck? So here is the elephant in the room. Oh yeah. This thing got hit harder than I've ever seen a car get hit and still be able to run. This got hit in such a way where the rear bumper panel was unscathed. It got hit entirely in the sheet metal and it just caved everything in. The quarter panel, the trunk, and also it did a number on the fiberglass spoiler, which, man, I wish it didn't, because these fiberglass spoilers are actually a little bit expensive and they're hard to find. Well, they're harder to find than some other spoilers on other cars. But the good thing about it is that none of this was touched, because this is the important bit. That's the high dollar item here. But this trunk was just destroyed. So let's examine what we have in our, well, half a trunk now. We have some rear panel that was just destroyed. We have a tail light that was destroyed, and some wiring harnesses that actually were not destroyed, but the bulbs were. And that's about it. I know the ECU and everything that controls the engine lives underneath here, so fortunately that was untouched. So maybe we can do something with that. So the guy that I got it from, he actually told me that a body shop told him this was fixable. Dude, I don't, I don't see how. And the last stop on our train out of WTFville is the fact that although this car does start, getting into gear is another story. Let's say I want to back out. Clutch in. All right, let's see. Maybe there's not enough fluid in the clutch system. Let's pump it up a few times. All right, clutch in. So even though the clutch system, the hydraulic fluid is working as intended, something is wrong with that clutch to the point where it doesn't go into any gear. Now I can put it into all the gears while the car is off. See, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and also reverse. Actually, the way I got the car into my garage in the first place was just to put it into first gear, start the car, and hopefully I didn't stall on the way. But that's something that I don't think I'm gonna fix, just because I'm not gonna use this powertrain. If I do an engine swap, it's gonna be to a newer engine, a Gen 3 engine, and not the Gen 2 engine. But for anyone that wants a Gen 2 engine with a good 5-speed manual transmission but needs some clutch work, then you know where to find me. So that's it. This is my MR2 Turbo parts car, and I can't wait to start taking it apart and grafting all the good bits onto my cheap pile of crap, let's be honest, that's what it is. Thanks to Autotempest.com for sponsoring this video. Lord knows I need all the help I can get. If you like this video, consider subscribing. You can subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button down below. Actually, I'm not sure if it's down below because you might be watching on mobile. But hit that button, and next to that button is a little bell. Hit that button as well, and you can become part of my notification squad. That means every time I lay a finger on one of my cars and record it and hit submit on YouTube, you guys will know about it first. If you'd like to contact me and ask me about, I don't know, parts on this car that you'd want to buy, or maybe you want to buy the whole car, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing anyway, you guys can contact me at TheRealTavarish, that is Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email, and I'm easy to find, I'm easy to reach, and I read every single message. You guys can also find me on Wheelwell. This is actually a Wheelwell shirt. You can DM me there, and we can chat about how I'm making really bad car purchasing decisions all the time. But until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like this, on cars like that, on every car that you guys might have, you guys need to wrench every day.